Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about this awesome build I did in the Be Quiet 500DX. This is going to be a new case from Be Quiet with a mesh front panel, a lot of airflow, put a 10900K in there. So today I want to talk a little bit about the case and see how the build came out and everything that I liked about it. So let's get started. Hey guys, Tiago with Classical Technology here. Thank you for joining me for another video. Smash that like button. Remember to subscribe if you like my content and leave a comment below. So recently, Be Quiet sent me this white 500DX case. Now, I really enjoy Be Quiet cases in the past. I have a really nice big water-cooled build in their 900 series cases, the revision 2. What I really liked about that case, and I was really surprised, being used to building in typical cases, the build quality was really good, and it had all of these little added details and extras that just made the build experience really nice. For example, you can do an inverted motherboard. It has all sorts of compartments, so you get really nice low noise as well as air coming in. So as soon as I got this smaller version, which is their 500 series, and remember this is going to be the DX version, basically meaning that you're going to have a lot better airflow through the front. I have the case right here. You can see right off the bat, one of the things I'm going to tell you that I really like, it's that little RGB strip right here on the front. You have two of them. You can set it to any color. On the top of the case, of course, you can press buttons to change the color. You know, it can do different things like a rainbow mode. You can do different colors, blink in and out, things like that. That's just like a little minor thing that I really liked. So I'm going to run through a list of stuff that I really enjoyed in this case and I think might be a little bit unique, tell you a little bit about my build experience, and overall give you my opinions on this case. So first of all, let's talk about the design. So design-wise, I think it looks really beautiful. It's not too large. You can fit, of course, an ATX motherboard in there. I love the RGB design in it. You know, in the front you have this like dual RGB strip design. You can press the buttons up here, just like in their other cases, in order to change whatever RGB light. You can change the color. You can even change if they're blinking or, you know, things of that nature. And it also comes with an RGB strip right on the top, making everything really nice and easy. You basically just plug in the cases, you know, different cables into your power supply as well as into whatever RGB source that you want to use, and you can sync it up with everything. As you can see here, I have this synced up to be purple. I think that looks really nice in this sort of case. You could also do orange, which is sort of the Be Quiet color. You know, I've done that before as well. Looks really good. So in terms of the aesthetic and the design of this case, they make it in white and black, of course. I really like it. Both colors look amazing. I really like what they did with the mesh front. You can feel that you get a lot more airflow as opposed to something that's going to be more solid, a little bit more restricted airflow. In this particular build, of course, I love doing water cooling builds. You guys have seen many of them on this channel. This particular build is all air cooled, and of course you also have your tempered glass. On the roof you also have a removable magnetic dust filter. So all that, everything all around is really nice. Of course, this case being a little bit smaller, you don't actually get any type of like a vertical GPU mount, and unless you're water cooling, you're not going to want to put a vertical GPU in a case like this anyway. So in terms of the aesthetics, I think it's a really nice looking case. Everything's in its proper place. It has the right amount of RGB without being too much. These accents really, I think, bring out the look of the case. And secondly, let's talk a little bit about what this case is really meant for, and that's airflow. So far, I have the case running behind me. It's an all air-cooled build. We're going to be running a 10900K. I can barely hear it. It's super quiet. I'm running the Dark Rock Pro 4. This is their air cooler. On this side here, for comparison, I actually have a Noctua air cooler, the DHS15, you know, their big air cooler, and in my opinion, they're very equal in terms of noise and performance. I may even like the design aesthetic of the Be Quiet version a little bit more, just because it looks so awesome and industrial, sort of with that all black design. The fans look really good in it, and of course you do get some fans with this case, and Be Quiet fans have been one of my favorites for a very long time. I've used them in multiple builds, even in builds like I did an InWin 909 build. I did it, of course, in my Be Quiet 900 revision 2 build, because they perform really well. They're very quiet, they have great static pressure, and I think they look pretty nice as well. I just like the way that they're designed. Everything from the packaging, everything that they do is really high quality, and when you're building systems like this, you definitely like that additional touch. So in terms of performance in this case, definitely top notch. You can put your fans right on the front right here, and because of the mesh, you're going to get considerably more airflow as opposed to the regular version if you have like a flat panel there that's not permeable. So you're definitely getting a lot of airflow, so that air goes into the CPU cooler. Of course, the GPU is going to be putting out some hot air as well, so everything's going to rise, go to the top, a bit towards the back. So in general, performance has been really good. I've been running the 10900K sort of on stock settings just to see what it can do, and so far temperatures have been fantastic. I haven't manually overclocked it yet. I'm waiting for an Apex motherboard before I really start to push the overclock. Right now I'm running the Z490 Asus Prime. I just wanted a nice straightforward motherboard just to get the chip tested. But even with this Be Quiet Dark Rock Pro 4 air cooler, if I do something like Cinebench R20, typically I'll be in the high 60s, maybe up to 73 Celsius, depending on how many times I run that test, which I think is pretty good for an air cooler. My 9900K would run around that, or even a bit more, sometimes even with water cooling. So if any of you guys are wondering if this Be Quiet air cooler is going to be sufficient for a 10900K, it definitely is. Of course, if you water cool, you can always eke out more performance, but in general, this is, fairly quiet. It performs really well, fairly low maintenance after you have that in there. Just plop your fans on there and you're pretty much good to go. And of course, like I mentioned, I love the aesthetic. Even in this case, which is a different color, you get a little bit of a contrast. It seems to fill the case really nicely in that area. Of course, you're going to block some of your motherboard. And one note as well, you just have to make sure to get a little bit lower profile RAM. I had some Corsair Dominator RGB RAM here before, and depending how your motherboard is, the cooler may go up against it. I believe the limit is around 40 millimeters for the cooler and the RAM height being 40 millimeters or less. So actually I went out and I got some Corsair LPX Vengeance memory. It's very low profile memory, still performs pretty well. At least here the memory fit perfectly. It fits right behind the cooler with no issues at all. Of course, even with my nocturnal cooler, I had to get a little bit lower profile memory. It's just the nature of air coolers. So anytime you're going to get an air cooler, make sure to check the RAM clearance. That's definitely something you have to know when you're doing an air-cooled unit like this. Of course, if you're using an AIO or water cooling, usually those blocks go right in between the RAM and you don't have as many compatibility issues. But an air cooler is a bigger unit because of all the fins and the fans that have to go on it. So just keep that in mind. But overall, performs really well in this case. You get that nice clean airflow from the front through the top and the back, and it looks really cool, very nice and proportional. The case definitely isn't that big at all, which is pretty cool because you can fit a lot of stuff in there as well as move it around without a problem. Now, in terms of the GPU, I tested two different GPUs in this case. The first one being a Radeon 5700 XT. That one, of course, blows all the hot air out of the case. It's going to be noisier and generally not perform as well as like a multi-fan setup GPU like I have in there now. But even that performed pretty good. Noise levels really weren't that bad. But of course, a case like this that has some pretty good airflow, I wanted to take advantage, especially with a 10900K. So I threw in EVGA 2080 for the Win 3. Now, this isn't just any 2080. The For the Win 3 generally is going to be able to clock a little bit higher, has much better cooling, and it is definitely a very thick 2.5 slot graphics card. Looks really cool and beefy, and it fits perfectly fine in this case. I mean, this is a monster graphics card, and it fits with no issues. In fact, when I'm gaming, I can barely hear it. Airflow has been really good, forms really well without any sort of thermal throttling issues, and of course, that's due to the case having this great mesh panel, letting the air go in, everything being nice and quiet. You definitely get a very good airflow balance inside. So in general, to sum summarize, this is a very pleasant case to build in. Aesthetically, it looks really, really nice. And I love the way the air cooler contrasts with the rest of the case. Fits in there really nice. Even the back with cable management, and you have your hard drive bays in the back. Everything's very high quality. It's a very affordable case. Definitely a joy to work in, and you can build any type of system in here, even a water-cooled system. I'm going to be doing a build in the future where I'll probably water-cool this as well, but you can do an entry-level system. It's very affordable. You could also do a much higher end build like I have here with a 10900K and a 2080 for the 1.3. You can definitely run the gamut. The cooling performance is definitely great, so you're going to be able to put these components in here. Everything's nicely, intelligently designed, and it's definitely a case that I liked building in, and I'm going to do a couple of builds in it. Usually that's what I like to do. I'll do one build. After a while, I'll do something different. Maybe I'll do water cooling, as I said. I'll do an AIO. I love seeing how cases' strengths can play to different types of configurations. That's definitely a lot of fun. Alright guys, let me know if you had any questions about this case. Leave a comment below, and I'll see you guys on the next video.